Hello, everybody. This is very personal, what I'm about to tell you, and this is the first time that this has happened in my life over something political. Yesterday, there was No Kings protest that happened all across America. And people hate Trump. They're out there, they're saying the worst things about him. They hate Elon Musk, and both equally because Elon Musk was out there. Remember, the left used to love him, but now they hate him. And something terrible happened to me and my family yesterday. I drive a Tesla vehicle, and yesterday a car swerved and tried to run me and my family off the road because of what I was driving. I was with my wife and my 3 kids, all under 4 years old. People are honestly sick. I saw the driver as he was coming, and I saw him turn his arms to come into our lane, and then he pulled back at the last second, and thankfully my Tesla vehicle in its self-driving kept us safe. I'm going to show you the video because I have it on the dash cam I caught this driver doing this. And yesterday, again, this was a lot of tension was in the air yesterday all across America. But when somebody has the audacity to pull a vehicle, we're driving 45, 50 miles an hour, and pull in front of another vehicle that you don't like just because you know it's that type of vehicle, people are sick. But this happened to us yesterday. I'm going to be uploading this to my X account, as well as uploading a special video to YouTube to show people what people are doing out there. We were driving on the road, and this person intentionally pulled out of their lane. There was only 2 lanes in front of me and my family, just because of the car that I drove. That's how sick people are. But I just want to say thank you for all those that keep us in prayer. Thank you for all those that, I'm serious, guys. This is like what's happening. People are losing it. But we're going to get to that video. It's going to be the first video that I show you today over what happened. But I want to get into a lot of breaking news that's going on today. But you are my family. This is my True Life News family. And I just want to keep you updated because, again, this stuff is happening and it happened to me. So you're going to get to see it in a moment. Again, a person swerved over. It was so much tension, guys, that happened. Everybody in the car was just like, because it was that scary of a car just coming out in front of us. And thankfully, we were safe in our Tesla. Thank you, Elon. And thank you to all the full self-driving team that were able to, the car did what it did, but it scared us very much. I want to get into the breaking news of what happened. Trump and other GOP leaders and reps are saying that John Thune is finished, everybody, after he brokered a last-minute deal in a backroom deal with Chuck Schumer to pass the TSA funding and completely remove, listen to this is the part that everybody's saying he's finished now, and completely remove all funding for ICE and the southern border. This is 100% in the bill that they sent over to the House to be passed. Representative Tim Burchett and other GOP are calling for John Thune to be replaced and fired and resign, saying they left senators in the dark, striking a backroom deal with Chuck Schumer. Thune and Chuck Schumer cut the deal at 2 o'clock in the morning through a procedural move, only requiring 5 senators to pass the deal that they sent to the House. Thune did a backroom deal with old Chuck Schumer and gave them everything they wanted, including no funding for the southern border and for ICE. Now tell me, who's the rhino right now? Tell me, is 5 senators agreeing on what's supposed to be all 100 senators on something? Is that democracy? Because that's what happened this past weekend. And again, guys, what's going on? The whole No Kings protest, it's all bought and paid for. The No Kings fake protests are being financed by foreign communists and George Soros groups, a network of about 500 groups with an estimated $3 billion in combined annual revenue is being the coordinating behind the nationwide No Kings protest, including communist groups who are using this day to call for revolution. All this we have the evidence for, guys. Again, 500 groups push this. $3 billion in combined revenue is backing this. All this No Kings protest, communists, it's the worst of the worst. What I'm about to show you today, again, is the worst of the worst. And again, I'm going to show you the video for all those that are joining right now, that me and my family were almost hit by a car yesterday in the No Kings protest because of that I drive a Tesla. I have the video evidence to show you in a moment that they 100%, I saw the guy pull his steering wheel over going into our lane and then cut back. And thankfully my Tesla pulled back the other way. And I have 3 kids. I got a 4-year-old and I got twin 2-year-olds. My wife was with me. So again, this stuff is getting crazy. It's getting out of hand. Thankfully, the dash cam recorded it. But we're going to show you this in a moment. And it was so out of tense, guys. Trust me, when everything happened, I didn't think about it till later, but me and my wife were all just frazzled. Should have turned around, should have followed him, should have got the license plate. It just happened so fast. Like, this stuff happens, like when you see it, when you're going 50 miles an hour, my first thought was keeping my family safe, keeping my kids safe. But when this person did this, they're just losing it, guys. Again, why? Because we just got confirmation again that DNI Tulsi Gabbard is actively investigating intercepted communications where the Ukraine officials planned to funnel, we have the dollar amount now, $200 million to the Biden 2024 re-election campaign and the DNC. We're catching them. That's why they hate Elon Musk so bad. That's why they hate anybody that drives a Tesla. Guys, I got flicked off. I couldn't tell you how many times yesterday just because I drive a Tesla. People are losing it. It's like they don't, their minds aren't living in reality. And now that we're catching all this fraud, waste, and abuse, thank you to Elon Musk and the DOGE team. Thank you to the Trump administration. We're going to expose this all today. But thank you again to your prayers. I truly believe that God keeps us safe. I truly believe that prayers keep us safe from what happened. Could have been very terrible yesterday, but I'm going to show you the video in a moment. It'll be the first thing we see. But thank you to everybody who is watching our channel. Thank you to all those that are, if you're not subscribed, please consider joining our family, hitting that subscribe button. And if you don't mind, thank you to everybody who hits the thumbs up like button. We appreciate you so much. We are here to serve you guys. And thank you to everybody who's already given in the chat. When you give on this channel, we take your donations and we partner with you to give to a local children's home on the 22nd of every single month. And we do it live on stream so you can see everything. But give some love to Lori Rapier in the chat. Alan Demeen Show. Alan, OG of the family. Some love in the chat. RJ Patridge. Our girl Lori Rapier. Thank you so much, Lori, for that blessing. Alice Lewis. PDX67 Richard. Papa Don. Our boy Mr. Tracy J. Norby. Show them some love in the chat. And don't forget, everybody, our partner, we literally have only a few more days for you to be able to call them up. It's a free service to you. 667-895-3015. Chapter will help everybody out for free to get the best Medicare coverage so that you can be taken care of. You can make sure that you save more of your hard-earned money. And we can get more testimonials like what you're seeing on the screen. This person, Hope Spicer, sent this message in a comment, said, Chapter saved me over $400 a month. My husband may be able to get on my plan after he passes 2 years since his heart surgery with no further issues. If so, he will save over $250 a month. Thank you, Joel. Guys, that is literally almost $5,000 a year in savings right there by real people. So again, call Chapter up, 667-895-3015. I promise you, you will be blessed. Tell them that Joel sent you from TrueLife News. So we're going to get into this. Yesterday, me and my family were out driving, and we drive a Tesla. Yesterday was the No Kings protest. While I was driving down the interstate and through the streets, many people were flicking me off, saying all kinds of stuff just because of what I drive. They hate Elon Musk. They hate Trump for what we're doing. We're exposing the fraud. And yesterday, as we were driving, this person in this blue car in the very back pulled out in front of us. And I was with my wife and my 3 kids, and they saw what I drove, and this is how crazy they are because they're trying to intimidate and put fear into people. So I'm going to show you this video. I'm going to play it through. This was us yesterday, where just because of what I drive, people literally wanted to scare me or run me off the road. And as you can see, guys, right there, my vehicle, thank God, pulled off. I'm going to do it in slow motion. We're driving, and we're going 45, 50 miles an hour, and then all of a sudden, pulls. I saw him yank his steering wheel into my lane right here, and then he yanks it back, and we swerve off onto the right side, and then the vehicle pulls back. Thank you, Tesla, and the full self-driving team. But you can see this again, guys, in real time. He pulls it, and guys, let me tell you this. For all those that may be doubting, that when you are on your phone or you're doing something like this, it's a slow move over. I saw this guy driving like this, yank his car over into our lane, and then pull back at the very last second. And I'm going to be posting this on X. I'm going to be telling Elon, I'm going to put everybody out there that this happened to me and my family, where this person tried to intimidate us as soon as they saw what I drove. Guys, this is where people are losing it. This is where I thank you for your prayers. I thank you to everybody that supports us. I'm so sick and tired of seeing so much of this craziness that's happening. But again, this right here just shows you where people are at. And now we're holding people accountable. And guys, if you appreciate, we're going to bring you the truth today. If you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button. See our boy Tim Burchett, who has literally told us what happened behind the scenes with Chuck Schumer and leader John Thune. This is why everybody is calling for him to be replaced, resign. He is finished. Listen to this.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett. A lot of people are angry at the Senate. Dadgummit, they should be. But the real anger needs to be directed at the leadership. Thune and Schumer cut this deal at 2 o'clock in the morning, and through a procedural move, and you only had to have 5 people on the floor, I think, to do this. So the reality was it had nothing to do with the rank and file members of the Senate. That they were basically told this, and there's very little, if any, recourse to do anything about it. The House, we funded the DHS, which had the Coast Guard and protects our borders, and we funded the TSA agents, and the Senate didn't even have the guts to take up the Save America Act. So it pretty much shows you Senate leadership, it's Thune and Schumer, have a real dislike for what most of America thinks. They want to run the show and don't really care what you or I think. They sure don't like Trump. They want to get back to the old days, and which is kind of pathetic, really, in my opinion. And that's what's basically behind it. AC/DC said it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll, and clearly the Senate understands that, and they don't want any of us at the top helping make that decision, because they're going to make the decisions for us, and that's some serious arrogance. So I want to thank y'all for sending me here. Please pray for our country.
We need prayer really bad, guys. Yesterday, you can't make up what was out there and what people were doing. You can't make up how badly people hate Donald Trump. What you're seeing on the screen, you got Elon Musk in the back, essentially. You got Donald Trump tied by a chain, being pulled by this person on a cart. And this is what was out in public yesterday. This is literally gone viral on X over people and what they think about Elon Musk and Trump. And again, guys, this is what's happening. This is the craziness that's taken over the left, guys. Let me know your thoughts, because it just doesn't make any sense. How do you come to common ground with people that would be willing to do that? How do you come to common ground that people don't even realize when they say no kings, 40 years in office, 52 years in office, 50 years in office, 5 years, but the guy who's been there the least, that's who they want to get out. Not the people that have been there that created all the problems that you see now with $39 trillion in debt, with all the issues we had at the southern border. It's all propaganda that you're seeing out there. Everything that I'm showing you guys right now, again, This is the stuff that's just breaking. A lot of people are really upset because every single day that passes, you're getting to see so much breaking news. We're waiting for the arrest. Right here, whenever the U.S. intercepted the Ukrainian government messages discussing a plot to route money to Biden re-election, they were planning on sending $200 million to the Biden campaign and the DNC from the Ukrainian government officials in order to help Biden win so that they could keep getting more money. That's what it was all about, everybody. So as you're seeing here, all this information that we're getting, now we're looking, where is the dang arrest? Where is the people that are going to be held accountable? People are sick and tired of seeing all this. I know you are. I know I am. And the more and more that we dig into this, the more and more that we're starting to see, again, what's happening in Iran. They just put 3,500 troops on the ground in Iran. Lots of stuff is going on, and I'm bringing you the breaking news. And again, thank you to everybody who's supporting the channel. Show Lori Rapier some love in the chat. Alice Lewis, our boy PDX67, Richard, Papa Don, Mr. Norby, been a member for over 27 months. Show him some love in the chat. Again, all this stuff that's coming out, guys, we are about to see a huge change this week.
Okay, yeah. Hang on, but before we go at the escalation ladder,
okay,
why then the two guys that have the most politically at stake here is not Trump. The two that have most politically at stake are Rubio and JD Vance. JD just went on and said, we got a little while longer. I mean, he couldn't have been more casual about it in this interview. At the same time, he was talking about UFOs and all this other stuff, but he just very casually, we have a little time. He repeated a little time to go, and then this is over. Marco, who is National Security Advisor, he's not just Secretary of State, he's National Security Advisor. He was adamant on that tarmac that said, hey, this is 2 to 4 weeks. We don't need combat troops. We are going to keep this intense air campaign and maybe even make it more intense. Why would they? I understand you don't tell the enemy everything you're doing, but they're really signaling to the American community, to the American people in the international economic community, in all of our allies, whether in the Gulf or in Western Europe, that this is a bombing campaign that's not only successful, but it's going to continue on to its conclusion, of which you will have a defanged and declawed Iranian regime, sir.
Yeah. Like I've been saying, there's no doubt we're degrading capabilities. I've never denied that. And I think that's what they're probably, Rubio and the administration are probably running off of, is because they are aware that this thing could go on for a lot longer than anybody is planning for, or that we have the capabilities to sustain. So I think they're probably smartly looking for a narrative frame to say, okay, we've destroyed X amount of targets. We destroyed everything that we know about. So we're done. But that doesn't mean the Iranians are going to let this end. It doesn't mean the Israelis are going to let this end. What I think is going on here is a lot of hopium, as the kids say today. There's a lot of hopium coming out of Rubio and Vance, because the alternative is, oh my gosh, we are stuck in a quagmire that we were not planning for. And so this is how these things play out. Again, compared to Vietnam, there was a lot of hopium back then. Everybody was saying just a few more thousand we need to take, secure Da Nang, and it never worked out according to plan because the enemy gets a vote. The Iranian regime has survived.
Hang on.
Yeah.
You've been pretty good about giving people a kind of walking through, hey, this is where you're going to go up the escalatory ladder. As you see it right now, as we're starting Holy Week, the escalatory ladder, Rubio could not have been more adamant. And I keep telling people, he ain't the Secretary of State. He's also the National Security Advisor to the President of the United States. About we're not going to need combat troops, and we're not going to send. We're not going to send in combat troops. As you see Holy Week playing out this week, do you think now that we got capability in theater, do you think we start rolling out the combat troops this week?
I think in the next couple of weeks, you're going to see more combat troops. I know the 82nd's going in. The question is where. I believe that this is where it's going, and I think unfortunately we are stuck in what's known as an escalation trap, and there is no off ramp now. So yes, I do believe you will see the introduction of ground troops. I think it will be a disaster under current conditions. We're hearing about Gallipoli and
And this is huge breaking news, guys, because again, we have official news. Iran is facing a massive pressure with President Trump, with the USS Tripoli and 3,500 U.S. troops arriving in the region. Iran is on Trump time right now. 3,500 U.S. troops have arrived in the Middle East. These are people that would be ground support for what is coming next. I told you it's going to be a big week. This is going to be a very, very big week with what's about to happen. And remember, all the while, we're trying to keep the homeland safe. Thank God, because again, President Trump signed and paid for the TSA agents to be paid through executive order. 78% of Americans support President Trump paying TSA agents with executive order. Only 22% disapprove. Insider polling. Guys, this is the breaking news. Trump has an overwhelming supermajority of support with common sense from the American people. Show MJ for him some love in the chat. Thank you so much, MJ for him. We appreciate you and your blessings. We can't thank you enough. Show Lay Lewis some love in the chat. Digging it with Dawn. Thank you so much. Say glad your family is safe. Me too. That was super scary. Lay Lewis, thank you for being a member for 17 months. What a blessing. Show Digging it with Dawn. MJ for him some love in the chat. Lay Lewis. Right here, guys. You're seeing it, and I've just shown you that yes, we do have ground troops on around Iran. The USS Tripoli and 3,500 troops arrived in the region over the past 48 hours. Trump is going all in this week. This is what I'm seeing on the leaked reports, everybody. Trump is going all in this week on Iran to take over the Strait of Hormuz. He actually said over the weekend, in one of his speeches, that he's going to call it the Strait of Trump. Not the Strait of Hormuz, the Strait of Trump. That he wants to rename it. And I'll find that clip for you in a moment. But this is where it's all in. They don't want this to be a forever war. They want to get in there and don't let the Iranians have any time to fix or come up with anything that could deter or prolong this war. 3,500 troops have hit the region. And guys, again, if you appreciate this breaking news, we're here to serve you. If you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support.
Island, but don't forget, there's also the very real possibility that the president wants to go on some merry uranium hunt in the heart of Iran, cycling in and out 82nd Airborne and Marine units and Special Forces. This to me sounds insane. This just doesn't even sound like it's workable. It's going to get a lot of people killed. So I hope that is not the plan. I hope those Marines are just being brought in for contingency operations, but ultimately, if you look at how we've escalated
when you say there's
so
not an
far,
off ramp, hang on,
Yes, sir.
hang on. You said it's not an off ramp. The president has put out a 15-point plan. Of course, has been rejected. They put a 5-point
Right.
plan back
Right.
that is totally unacceptable to the president. You have the Turks chairing conferences now of powers that are associated with this. You got the Pakistani field marshals very close to
Yep.
President Trump said, "Hey, I got to
Yep.
get on the line that we can deal with." You don't really see much of that developing.
No, sir. No, I think it's too late. I think there's too many hands on the wheel. And I think the wild card, as always, are the Israelis. And I talked with Yaakov Armador on Monday of last week. And Yaakov is the national security advisor to Netanyahu. And Yaakov tells me they're going to keep doing what's in the Israelis' national interest no matter what. So that to me indicates the Israelis are planning to push ahead, even if we decide to get cold feet. So this is the problem, why I say there's too many hands on the wheel. So we are stuck, Steve. Unfortunately, this is the essence of a quagmire. And I hope and pray that I am wrong, but I haven't been so far. And it looks like we are going to be introducing some component of ground forces, however limited. And there are no good options there. None of the potential landing sites are going to work. It's going to be Gallipoli or some weird Tom Clancy novel that doesn't go according to plan.
We would not be sending 3,500 ground troops to the Iranian region right here in the Middle East without there being oh my goodness. Why can't you see that? Let me go back. Pull this back. 3,500 troops right here at the bottom. You can see this, everybody. 3,500 troops on with the USS Tripoli. This is big news because, again, they're getting to the point where it's an all or nothing. Let's make this happen because I'm telling you, We've got to win. And every bit of war, it literally deters voters. This could push, if this keeps continuing, people will vote for the Democrats because the Democrats will say they'll stop the war. We already have found massive cheating. A Palm Beach elections officer volunteer just got arrested for stealing an encrypted access key and computer equipment on March 24th, special election where the Democrat won by 800 votes. This district includes Mar-a-Lago. People are already stealing. We're catching them. We're on the lookout. Now that we're looking out more than ever, I'm telling you, they are going to try to win the midterms because in any way possible. And this is where we have to bring the truth. We have to bring the receipts. People have to know what's really going on behind the scenes. I wanted to show you this, guys, because again, this is gaining a lot of storm. This is being led by Tim Burchett over replacing John Thune in the Senate as the majority leader with everything that's happening. And guys, show PDX67 some love in the chat for that super chat. Let's go. Also, don't forget to show MJ for him and also Lori Rapier for their blessings. Thank you so much for your support. Check this out. I believe Thune's days are numbered. Let's do it all together, guys. Let's put it in the chat. Hashtag Fire Thune. And Deborah Webb, thank you so much for your support. Say, God bless you, Joel, and all you do. Also, all your Patriots. Let's go. Show Deborah some love in the chat. Martin Gonzalez, OGs of the family. Show them some love in the chat, everybody. And let's get it going. Hashtag Fire Thune. Check this out.
So I want to ask about these two funding bills. Obviously, the House passed one, but the Senate passed one also. And there's a lot of criticism from House Republicans on whether Thune should have let that happen because it didn't fund ICE or CBP. Thune defended it, saying in part, ICE and CBP are funded thanks to the working families' tax cuts and the foresight of President Trump and Republicans in Congress. Dems got zero restrictions that would prevent ICE and CBP agents from doing their job safely. And due to the Dem obstruction of the appropriations process, ICE and CBP will get even more through budget reconciliation. But there's, from what I see, two pretty big problems with this. First of all, only frontline law enforcement from ICE and CBP are funded because of the big, beautiful bill, not the civilian support staff. So this would have hung them out to dry until a second reconciliation bill can pass. That's an open question. You've had Jason Smith, the Ways and Means chair, saying he does not see a clear path for reconciliation. And then on top of that, now you've got all these headlines claiming that it was House Republicans who continued this shutdown. Do you think that Thune made a big mistake here?
I think he made a huge mistake, ma'am. 83% of the population supports President Trump at Save America Act, which they should. He ignores that. And you as a member of the media ought to be disgusted at the fact they passed that thing at 2:25 in the morning and left all the other senators kind of hanging. All he had to do is have 5 of his cronies on the floor. He cuts a deal with Schumer. Obviously, the leadership in the Senate, and that's on both sides of the aisle, has a real disgust for this president and House leadership because they didn't even have the guts to call Speaker Mike Johnson and let him know what happened.
Wow.
The whole deal of, the stereotype of Congress is, and it's well deserved, is that we pass stuff in the dark of night because we don't have any guts, and that's clearly what's shown in the Senate leadership. I think they need to get some new leadership over there, in my opinion.
Now, you guys in the House obviously passed a bill before you.
I want to show you this, guys, because I'm telling you, like this, they came out yesterday. This is why, again, to me, we need new leadership. You just heard Representative Tim Burchett say they made a backroom deal. Chuck Schumer and Thune did. And they only needed 5 people to be there to make it work with a procedural vote. Where in the world is democracy? What you're seeing on the screen, everything that's happening, guys, 500 groups with $3 billion in revenues are behind the No Kings protest and communist calls for revolution. A Fox News digital investigation finds the No Kings protest are backed by a network of about 500 groups with an estimated $3 billion in annual revenue, including communist and social organizations calling for revolution. All these many ties back to George Soros. So you're seeing it here. And guys, if you appreciate these receipts, guys, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support. And give it up for PDX67, our boy Richard with the 10 gifted memberships. Show Richard some love in the chat, everybody. What a blessing. Growing the family. Thank you so much, Richard, for your support. Thank you so much to Lori Rapier, Deborah Webb, MJ for him, guys. Thank you all so much. Alice Lewis for your blessings. We're here to bring the receipts, guys, because I'm telling you, this is literally how we expose and primary these rhinos out of office.
Of town, but both chambers are in recess for the next 2 weeks. And better hope you didn't make any dinner reservations or have any family plans, because listen to what TMZ is asking for.
Anybody goes to Disney World with their family for spring break, or goes to a beach somewhere or anywhere on vacation, and you see one of the 535 members of Congress take a picture and send it to us at TMZ. We want to show what they are doing at your expense.
So basically, it's an all call to shame members of Congress for being on recess. You know these photos are going to pop up during primaries and midterms. Do you think that Republican leadership in either chamber, both chambers, needs to call everyone back?
I think we need to get back to work, man. We used to say in the state legislature, you shouldn't have hired on if you didn't want to work, and clearly they don't want to work. But honestly, I do more work when I'm at home. You know, I can't get used to those 2-hour work weeks when I'm in Washington waiting on the Senate to budge on something. And that's clearly what's going on here. And Harvey's right at TMZ. He is correct. I hope they bust some people on this thing, because this is ridiculous. America's suffering. We're paying more at the pumps. Excuse me, we're paying more at the pumps. These ridiculous lines. We're forcing TSA agents to work for free multiple times this year, and yet Congress has continued to be paid. That's why I've sponsored legislation to do away with that. When the government's in a shutdown or a partial shutdown, as this is, we shouldn't get paid, but we're a bunch of spoiled brats, ma'am. And, you know, I get sick and tired of congressmen saying they can't, you know how much money I could make if I just went home and worked? Well, dadgummit, go home.
Go home.
More people have played professional baseball than have been in the United States Congress. You need to treat it as, I treat it as an honor. Every time I get off that plane and look at that Capitol, I get chills. And when you don't, you need to pack it up and come home, ma'am.
I'm telling you, and that we're saying the quiet part out loud, everybody. Again, people don't care about this. You will never have, Congress will never prosecute themselves. These people that are in government, yesterday what happened with all this No Kings protest, and what happened, again, I showed you at the beginning of the video, what happened with me and my family, of a vehicle swerving out and trying to hit us, trying to scare us, push us off the road, just because I drive a Tesla. They hate Elon Musk and Trump so bad. Look, they called it the DOGE walker yesterday, where this person is pulling this woman supposed to be, I guess, Elon Musk, and Trump is there walking or crawling on the floor, and this person in this wheelchair, who I feel like this person doesn't even seem real right now, but this is what was happening yesterday. And I wanted to show you again, too, because receipts matter. When you hear it from their own voice, everybody, that's when you know what where truly people believe. And thank you so much to everybody and for all your prayers, guys. Thank you so much, because, again, the more that True Life News gets bigger, the more that, just like Benny Johnson, JD Vance, all these others, I'm going to get attacked. I know it's coming. And that's where we rely on your prayers to help keep us safe. Andy, thank you so much, brother, for your support. And Joel, did you get the plate number? Thank God that your family, yourself are doing well. I did not, guys. I'm telling you, it's just like it happens so fast. You're going 50 miles an hour and on this road. And when something like that happens, my first thought is just keep my family safe. And just like keeping our composure and like, what the heck just happened? And you're just... But I got the video. It was at the beginning of this video. You can roll back and see it. And I'm also going to be posting it on my X account. If you want to go follow me on X, it's in the description. Right here. Listen to what Tim Walz, Minnesota governor, said.
And I will add a special thank you and a special acknowledgement that we will never leave the side of our Somali Minnesotans. Here's our pledge to you. Our Somali Minnesotans, your great-grandchildren will still be here when that orange clown is in the dustbin of history. You will be here.
Look, I have nothing against Somalians. I have everything against people that defraud the United States. And I don't care if you're Somalian. I don't care if you're German. I don't care where you're from. You defraud the United States and you're here on a visa, your butt should be sent back to your own country. But you just heard what he said. Again, this is where we've got to double down with prosecutions. There is no way on God's green earth that that administration didn't know all that fraud was taking place. O'Learing Center. And guys, give it up to Anna Diaz. Thank you so much, Anna, for your blessings of the 10 gifted TrueLife News memberships. Show Anna some love in the chat. If you got a free membership from Anna, we appreciate you so much for your blessing and helping us grow. What a blessing. The biggest thing, guys, I'm telling you, like the more that we dig into this, what you're about to hear next, it's the Congress is as corrupt as all get out. That's all I'll say. Every single one, like, to me, 99% of Congress is corrupt. Listen to this.
That's an important point. But with the time we have left, I want to ask you about another subject, too. The White House is making a big push right now to renew these spy powers, FISA Section 702. It lets the intelligence community surveil foreigners who are not physically in the U.S., so foreigners abroad not protected by the Fourth Amendment. I know you've opposed this in the past, in part because if Americans are texting with a suspected terrorist, their communications can be swept up too. But the president posted this. Fact is, whether you like FISA or not, it's extremely important to our military. I've spoken to many generals about this. They consider it vital. Not one said even tacitly they can do without it, especially right now with our brilliant military operation in Iran. Are you going to support FISA reauthorization this time around?
Well, as you know, I love our president, and he's probably one of the only people in Washington, D.C. that can get my name right in the media or in politics. But I've had some reservations in the past because, say there's a fellow working on your roof who's not an American citizen, here legally, but they have questions about him, and they go get a FISA warrant. And in the past, there's been a super high number of those been approved. They're rarely ever not approved. And they want to get at Tim Burchett. So what do? They hop on this guy's phone, this cell phone, this guy who's working on my roof, because guess what? He has my phone number in his, or he's talked to me, and they backdoor a search on me. And that's the way it's been abused. If they can prove to me that it's not being abused, then I could be on board with this. But the Fourth Amendment, ma'am, we take an oath to uphold the Constitution, and all of a sudden, this is okay. Somebody's going to have to show me what the difference is.
Yeah, and I hear what you're talking about. What you're talking about, I believe, is Title I of FISA, which does require warrants. We know that there was a lot of scrutiny on how those warrants were abused during the whole Carter Page thing. I mean, the president has sounded off on this, but Section 702 is a different authority. Title I actually is permanent law.
Correct.
It does not need to be renewed, ironically enough. 702 deals with foreigners who are overseas, not in the U.S. So you'd have to basically be texting with a terrorist in a foreign country to have your communications swept up. And the intelligence community's argument is, we've already collected all this data lawfully. If we require a warrant to look at it, now we're going to hamper the response time to thwart a terror plot. So will you, I guess, go for a briefing to try to get to the bottom of this? Because it does expire next month, and there's a lot of urgency around it to get it renewed.
It does, but they've not done a very good job of selling it to the American people or to Congress, ma'am. It's been abused over 100,000 times a year under the Biden administration. So somebody's going to have to prove to me that this is just not another avenue. And how do you identify somebody as a terrorist? Just because somebody's foreign and they're overseas doesn't make them a terrorist. So, again, you have an incredibly high rate of success for achieving these warrants in the past. They're going to have to prove to me that it's legit and not just another avenue to go after American citizens. We've had members of law enforcement that come out completely against this, and so we need to have some proof.
Well, it is
and I'm telling you guys, they went. Think about this: remember when Jack Smith spied on all the GOP representatives? Was able to subpoena without them knowing, sitting congressional leaders, and then they got all scared and, oh my goodness, you're looking at my text and phone calls and everything. I feel like we're at the point now where this FISA Representative Anna Paulina Luna has come out and said that we need to attach the Save America Act to FISA because it's just not looking like we're going to get it done with the DHS funding. Which, remember, they're still not funded. The House passed a full funding bill for them, but the bill that came from John Thune was not anywhere close to funding ICE or even the border. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. If you appreciate this, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button. I wanted to give you an update on where the 2028 presidential election is going towards, and I want you to put it in the chat, everybody. Right now, so far, the number one leader, front runner for winning the primary for the GOP is J.D. Vance at 53%. Now, over the past couple of months, he has lost 8%. Marco Rubio, over the past couple of months, has gained 33% in a couple of months to be the second front runner for being the president, running for president on the Republican side. Then Ron DeSantis, he's down 5 points. You got Trump Jr., Ted Cruz, Pete Hegseth, Rand Paul, and Tulsi Gabbard. So let me know your thoughts. Put hashtag whoever you want to be in, whether it's hashtag Vance, hashtag Rubio, DeSantis. I honestly would love to see DeSantis just because he did so well in Florida. I'd love to see him on the debate stage. I'd love to see what he could do. He's a guy that gets things done. He reminds me a lot of Trump without Trump's swagger. He doesn't got the swagger that Trump has. But dang it, does he get things done. Florida is on the verge of literally doing away with property taxes, everybody. Do you realize how big that is? What a feat that is against the greedy congressional leaders. And he's been leading the charge. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Put it in the chat who you want to see as the front runner for the president of the United States on the Republican side. All right, I wanted to bring an update, guys, because again, there's always so much going on. But right now, Homan, what a G. Like, guys, I didn't really know about Tom Homan. I know he worked with Obama, so that was kind of weird, but Obama really acknowledged how well he did. Listen to what he's doing now, because the Democrats opened the door for us to put ICE agents at the airport. Well, Trump is paying the TSA agents now, but guess what? ICE agents ain't leaving anytime soon. Check this out.
Border Czar Tom Homan joins me exclusively. When you look at this, Tom, President Trump put you in charge of the airports. According to our reporting, you were at the Houston airport yesterday. You've been traveling the nation. Have ICE agents been wreaking havoc?
No, ICE agents have been helping our brothers and sisters in TSA. And, the airport I went to yesterday, the lines are already decreased. They're not where they need to be, but the plan's in place. ICE agents need to be trained in certain aspects. That training's ongoing. Matter of fact, I think today, a lot more ICE agents are being released into those jobs because they spent the last few days doing that training. So, look, the federal security director there and the TSA minister are all over this. The lines would be a lot worse than it was for men and women of ICE. And look, these disparaging comments, if you want ICE out of the airport, then pay TSA. If you want ICE out of the airport, then fund DHS. I mean, it's simple. But the bottom line is they're putting the protection of illegal aliens over those American citizens, patriots, who are serving this nation. Whether it's in the Coast Guard, whether it's in TSA, whether it's in CISA, these men and women are serving their nation. And look, I've been involved in these negotiations. They want to cripple ICE. They want policy restrictions so they're less effective. They want less aliens arrested, and that's why the Department of Homeland Security shut down.
And the Department of Homeland Security shut down. I want to point out the Senate bill that was passed. This is really important because there were some texts that came to us, to Fox News from ICE and CBP with Bill Maloogian pleading for Fox News to cover this. I have a huge...
I want to show you this real quick, everybody, because again, like, as the breaking news happens, I want to show you. They, like, everything that you see it's all fake, everybody. So again, all the resistance that you see with DHS, with everything that's happening, all paid for. It's not real. 500 groups with $3 billion in revenues are behind the No Kings protests and communist call for revolution. That's a lot of money. Lots of groups, all fake. Not only that, you literally have this video that's circulating that this woman is from Charlotte. She's from Charlotte, okay? She's in South Carolina protesting. She said, "Are you going to go to any more of these protests? We're probably going to go to the next one in Charlotte. Yes, we're going to try and make the rounds today. Make it a couple more. It's time to be a voice heard." So again, I always think about the time. Most people are working, most people are busy, but you have a lot of these people, and a lot of people are alleging that she's paid. Most of these people are paid, but when you see this right here, that this is how much people and money is behind all these protests, what other conclusion can you get to?
Favor, when you guys report on the fact that ICE is funded through 2029, can you please make it known to support staff, the mission support, are not getting paid? So there are people who would not have gotten paid under the Senate bill. Is that correct?
Yeah, but there's a certain classification of employees, if not deemed critical, like, carrying a badge and gun. And let me be clear, from day one, I've been doing this a long time. Those mission support people are the backbone of what we do. We cannot do what we do very well if we don't have those people doing what they do. They put gas in cars. They pay bills. They keep their lights on. They make sure we have the equipment to do this job. So, yes, we need everybody funded. Open up DHS. If they have a problem with ICE, we'll meet with them. We'll talk what they want, what changes they want. But you don't have to shut down DHS to have those discussions. Bottom line is, President Trump was put in the Oval Office to secure the border and to enforce immigration laws. And that's exactly what the American people wanted. That's exactly what we're doing. And for the Democrats on the Hill who don't want to fund DHS, let me remind you, the reason there is a surge in immigration enforcement, because your failures the last 4 years. You put your head in the sand. You didn't push back on the Biden administration's open borders. You never called out Secretary Mayorkas for saying the border's secure, and it wasn't. So we're responding to your chaos. We're responding to four years of open borders. A historic illegal immigration event for 4 years requires an historic immigration enforcement event.
A beautiful 18-year-old girl, Sheridan Gorman, no doubt heard her story, shot by an illegal immigrant who should not be here, 2 opportunities to deport him. Her family saying clearly that this is a tragedy. It was preventable. They don't want us to be general about it. And the response from Mayor Brandon Johnson in Chicago, let's roll it.
This name derives from our city's legacy of standing up for justice, dignity, and the rights of all people, no matter where they come from. I want to take this moment to reiterate that Chicago does not want ICE on our streets, in our airports, nor in our city. Chicago believes in abolishing ICE. This tragedy is not going to deter us from our work. In fact, it's going to challenge us all to double down on our efforts.
How can you double down? An 18-year-old girl was killed.
18-year-old girl killed by ICE. Killed by, not by ICE, but by an illegal immigrant. If ICE was able to do their job, she'd still be alive. This illegal immigrant, multiple crimes, big rap sheet. That's what you get on the Democratic side, everybody. That's what their legacy needs to stand for. Because with all these No Kings protests, I've got some amazing receipts to show you what they truly represent. And if you appreciate this, guys, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, Check this out.
These No Kings rallies actually look pretty representative to me of the Democratic coalition. I saw people flying the hammer and sickle in New York City. I saw Hezbollah flags. I saw Hamas flags. I saw Palestinian flags. I saw trans signs. I see weirdo liberal boomers out there. This is pretty representative of the Democratic coalition, and that's who funds it as well, by the way. And so I think if America looks at this and says, what do the two parties stand for? They got it at the No Kings rally.
No, I think if you Americans were out there, out there, Republicans.
You like hammer and sickle? You like hammer and sickle flag?
That's not what that No King stood for.
They had a bunch
of them.
That,
and that is,
they come from somewhere.
All right, No Kings rally? I did. I went to 6, and I'll tell you, there's so much excitement.
6?
There's so much energy. Yeah,
that's a lot of free speech.
I'll get you a T-shirt.
That's a lot of free speech for a country with a king.
That's a lot of free speech. And
I want to show you what is happening in Britain because it's the exact same thing. Look at this. You literally have waving Hamas flags, Hezbollah flags, trans flags, all these. You realize Hamas and all them are terrorist organizations. Guys, we're showing you the receipts. This is happening all over the world. And if you appreciate the receipts, if you don't mind hitting the thumbs up like button, thank you again so much because again, this is the real. You're seeing it with your own eyes. Hezbollah, Hamas, trans flags, all together. Guess what? Hezbollah and Hamas are terrorist organizations. Where does this align? This is where the Democratic Party is at. Makes no sense whatsoever. We're just bringing the receipts, and what I love is that you can't deny it. What you are seeing is what's really coming from the left. And they're attacking even the most common sense people are coming out. People that are literally Democrats coming out and saying, you know what? The Democrats, they've lost it.
O'Leary Ventures chairman, the star of Marty Supreme, Kevin O'Leary. Kevin, great to see you. I love that movie, by the way. You were terrific. Kevin, what do you make of this? Because Georgia saw record turnout to vote after it passed voter ID, including among blacks. 71% of Democrats demand voter ID. About 8 out of 10 blacks and Hispanics want voter ID.
Well, you know, what I think about this issue, and you can make it bipartisan very simply by saying, look at best practice in G20 countries, all of them. Almost every single one of them requires citizens provide some form of ID to vote. I don't care what country you look at. You can go to Switzerland, anywhere in Europe, all the Nordic countries. I mean, why not? I mean, why wouldn't you want this? And it reduces the narrative around fraud, which we seem to have every election. I mean, the whole thing is getting a little ridiculous because if you're not a citizen, you can't vote. That's in the Constitution. It's that simple. So why not make it very simple? If you want to vote, put your ID. End of story. That's it. Yeah. I mean, it's so simple. I don't get the narrative. I don't understand the debate.
Well, you know, so Chuck Schumer, Democrats, the propaganda coming out of MS Now and parts of CNN has so bamboozled people out there. They think it's voter suppression. When 36 U.S. states have voter ID, they're doing fine. So do 171 nations, to your point, Kevin. All nations in Africa, all nations in Europe, South America, and the majority in Asia, Mexico, Canada. Kevin, they've got voter ID. You need voter ID for more than 5 dozen everyday things. So is it bank account suppression to show ID to get a bank account? Is it flying on an airplane suppression to show ID to fly in a plane or rent a hotel room or car or adopt a pet?
Well, I think the narrative, you just flip it on its head, you call showing ID fraud suppression. So, in other words, the only way you can be fraudulent if you're allowed to vote without proving who you are. And so why not suppress that to zero? I can't imagine any politician, red or blue, not agreeing with this. There's nothing to support the idea that you should let someone vote that doesn't prove who they are. I mean, that's just, you know, at some point it gets absurd. I think we've gotten there here at this point. It's just ridiculous. And so that kind of thing is common sense, and I think you want to sell it on a common sense basis.
Yeah, common sense. I mean, it's
sense.
unfathomable that the far left media has so many Americans thinking that it is voter suppression. When you have to show ID in like 63 different separate items in everyday life to show ID. Kevin O'Leary, thank you so much.
You want to know what happens whenever you give up your freedoms to the government? Let me show you some receipts. In the UK right now, you can fly an ISIS flag, a Hamas flag, a gay pride flag, a trans flag. But in London, in the UK, don't you dare fly a UK flag because it is an incitement to violence. Look what happens when this person tries to show off her British flag. Police come and confiscate it. But you know what they don't confiscate? You know what I love showing receipts? They don't confiscate these. Look at this. Where are you confiscating those, huh? Do you see this? Look at that same police around all these flags for trans, for Hezbollah, for Hamas. Don't do a dang thing. But when it comes to their own country, look at this. Puts it out, snatches it away, and pulls it. Look at that, police liaison on the back of his shirt. You want America to be like that? Keep voting Democrat. Keep voting socialism, communism, because that's what's going to happen. You can have patriotism for anything under the world, even terrorist organizations, but God forbid you do it for your own country. And I wanted to show you this because, again, J.D. Vance came out a couple days ago and said that they know and believe that Ilhan Omar committed immigration fraud. The African nation tells U.S. and say the word on extraditing Omar after fraud claims back to her country. Reported by Fox News, guys. Holy smokes. Could you imagine sending her back, extraditing her back to her own country for immigration fraud, losing her seat in the House? I would love to see it. Because again, the evidence amounts, and if J.D. Vance says she did it, then I'm with them. The evidence is crazy. Not only is there just so much craziness surrounding her brother, but all the Somali fraud. And again, this is coming from Fox News, guys. What do you think? So much is coming out today. The biggest thing is holding people accountable. I wanted to show you this because, again, the stuff that's happening in Congress, we have an up-and-coming guy, and everybody is calling for Senator Thune to be removed. Get out of here, guys. Listen to this.
Funding through a party line budget reconciliation bill later in the year, since the agency is already funded through the big beautiful bill. But our own Bill Malugin reports that not all employees working for ICE are getting paid through the big beautiful bill. Some of those include civilian support staff. These workers aren't on the front lines making immigration arrests, but they are providing essential support to the agents that are. Joining us now for tonight's big close-up is Florida Congressman Byron Donalds. Congressman, thank you for joining us tonight. Listen, I know you're running for a leadership position in your state. You were one of the few names in the speaker race. And I don't know how much of that was you wanted it or your colleagues wanted you to, but all that's to say is you have some leadership chops. I'm not asking you to criticize the Speaker of the House, but if it were Speaker Byron Donalds or leader of any kind Byron Donalds, what would you have done or what could be done differently? What do you see here? I understand you want to support your leader, but it seems like there's some missteps along the way, at least.
Well, we got to clarify a couple things. Speaker Johnson's done his job in exemplary fashion, and I'm not just saying that to back him up. I'm telling you because it's true. It's factual. Where this thing has all fallen apart is in the United States Senate. The House of Representatives has consistently funded all of Homeland Security, and the Speaker made the absolute right call in telling that piece of hot garbage that the U.S. Senate sent to us in the dead of night by a voice vote with only 5 members present on the floor of the United States Senate. He told them hell no. Every member of the House Republican Conference supported Mike Johnson. Where this has fallen apart is the U.S. Senate. Number one, you have...
Hey, he said that piece of hot garbage. Guys, put it in the chat. Put it in the comments. Fire Thune. They did it with a backroom deal. Only 5 people had to be there for a voice vote. I'm telling you, I'm so happy now that you actually have members like our own Patriots that are calling out the rhinos, baby.
Chuck Schumer and Senate Democrats who refuse to let a homeland funding bill go forward because they want open borders and they want to defang and defund ICE operations. What they chose not to fund was one of the investigative programs looking for the more than 300,000 children that the Biden administration lost on purpose when they threw our borders open and did no interior enforcement. And then the second piece of this failure is that John Thune cut a deal with Chuck Schumer to allow a voice vote at 3 a.m. when the rest of the country was asleep. 5 senators were on the floor of the Senate, and they decided to make a decision on behalf of everybody else. Well, that was dead on arrival in the House. Last night, members stayed longer because we made sure that we sent a funding bill for the next 60 days to cover all of the Department of Homeland Security, and that went right back to the Senate. So I would urge my Senate colleagues, Republican and Democrat, go back to D.C., finish the job so these agents can be paid and so our nation can be safe.
That's what I'm talking about. That's how it should be addressed. That's how Mike Johnson, because he called Thune out. He didn't call Thune out, he called out the bill. Thune is the leader of the Senate. Call him out. Don't be afraid. Put in somebody that's supposed to be there, that would do what's best for Americans. Let me know your thoughts. I love it. Let's impeach Thune. Let's get Thune out there. Representative Byron Donalds, Tim Burchett, all these guys calling him out. And if you love this, guys, hit the thumbs up like button. I love this. Exposing the rhinos.
Congressman, you might have already answered this or alluded to it a little bit, but I have kind of a 2-part question for you. I'm really interested in your take on this. One, are you happy with the leadership from Leader Thune? And the second part of that question would be, how does this end? And I say that because I know that what we want, and probably everyone at this table, I can speak for them, what we want is we want DHS fully funded. We want people to get paid. We want those lines to end. And we want all these people that are support staff, we want them to get paid as well. That's what we all want. But my question is, how does it end? Democrats don't seem to be moving off their position at all. So those are my 2 questions for you. I know they're not easy ones, but I know if there's anyone who can tackle it, it's you.
Look, number one, it's time for the Senate filibuster to end. We are witnessing what happens with that. It does not breed compromise. What it breeds is pure obstruction. It's not helping the country. There are many public policy issues that simply cannot be solved because Chuck Schumer and Senate Democrats want to oppose Donald Trump and this administration because they want to score political points. It's not just the ICE agents that are not being funded. It's our border agents that are not being funded as well. They're not being paid. You have members of the Coast Guard not being paid, Customs not being paid, members of Secret Service not being paid. This is a travesty. And I get it. The Democrats want wide open borders and no enforcement of immigration and customs, but they lost the presidential election in 2024. And the number one reason they lost that election is because their radical open borders policy, which has led to the death of young women all across America at the hands of criminal illegal aliens. The United States of America and our people said absolutely not. So this rises and falls with Chuck Schumer. I would say for Leader Thune, he's got to wise up and realize this is not 1995 anymore. These aren't the old Clinton Democrats that you could get into a room and negotiate with in good faith. These people are radical. They are unhinged. They have an ideology that does not support the American people, our Constitution, or quite frankly, Western civilization. And so if they're not going to negotiate, then you got to just roll them over, get rid of the filibuster, pass the spending bills, and let's get that piece of the government back open. It's what Donald Trump has been calling for. It's what myself and many of my colleagues have been calling for. We have seen enough. And the Democrats, to be blunt, they're not living in political reality. They want to change the political reality of the United States, and they just want power. That's what this is about.
Congressman Kevin Corke with you.
So powerful, everybody. And that's, again, when you look at what is the polling saying? What are people saying about what Trump's doing? Overwhelmingly, poll just found by insider polling a whopping 78% of Americans support President Trump paying TSA agents with his executive order. 22% disapproved. People support Trump and his agenda. And the more that we continue to fight this, guys, I'm telling you, you're hearing people that are just fed up. This is what I love, is that you get to the point where even your own party is like, what the heck is going on? And especially what's going on with this, because I feel like this may happen. The percentage is inching up, especially with what J.D. Vance saying on the African nation literally extraditing Omar after immigration fraud claims. Could you imagine, everybody, what a huge just event that would be for Ilhan Omar if everything comes out, immigration fraud and the money fraud with Somalians and all this stuff, to be extradited. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. If you're watching, you're not part of the family yet, please consider hitting that subscribe button, joining our family. And if you haven't already, hit that thumbs up, like button. Thank you so much for your support. We are here to serve you guys, and thank you to everybody that's been giving. We partnered with a company called Chapter. This is one of the comments that I saw yesterday. It said, Chapter saved me over $400 a month. Guys, that's literally almost $5,000 a year. My husband may be able to get on my plan after he passes 2 years since his heart surgery with no further serious issues. If so, he will save over $250 a month. Thank you, Joel. So Chapter helps those on Medicare. Doesn't matter how much money you make. Doesn't matter where the time is at. We've only got a couple of days, so please call them up. The number is 667-895-3015. They compare every single one of the 24,000 Medicare plans out there, everybody. This is real. Look at this. In 2026, while over 24,000 total plan combinations exist when considering all Medicare options. Let me refresh this again so you can see it. There are over 24,000 Medicare plans available nationwide. You just saw this screenshot where somebody is literally saving almost $5,000 a month. So call Chapter up, 667-895-3015. The number's in the bottom of the screen as well as in the description. Get your blessing. Tell them that Joel sent you from TrueLife News. We appreciate you so much. And thank you to everybody who is given on our channel. Guys, what a blessing. I'm so thankful because we have the best chat out there. We are making a difference. When I see the giving, remember on the 22nd of every single month, we donate to a local charity live on stream. And it's all with your support. So I want to give some special love today. Show Alice Lewis some love in the chat, everybody. OG of the fam, member of the family. Show Alice some love in the chat, as well as PDX67, our boy Richard with the super chat. Show Richard some love in the chat. Papa Don, thank you so much, brother, for your support. Mr. Tracy J. Norby, been a member for 18 months, but he's been with us for over 27. Show him some love in the chat to our boy, Mr. Norby. Show Lori Rapier, OG of the fam, some love in the chat. Thank you so much, Lori, for your blessings. What a gem. What a blessing she is. Show Lori some love in the chat. Digging it with Dawn. Thank you so much for your support and blessings. Lay Lewis, been a member for 17 months. MJ, for him, thank you so much for your prayers. We're praying for the president and service members in the country. God bless America. Show MJ, for him, some love in the chat. Our girl Gina, her tag is blessed33311. Been a member for 6 months. Show Gina some love in the chat. Again to Deborah Webb, Martin Gonzalez. Thank you so much to Richard for the 10 gifted memberships. Our boy Andy with the super chat. So Andy, some love in the chat. Ty Matt Chong, thank you so much for your support. Said thank you for your hard work. I'm glad we have TrueLife News. Get truth and facts. Need to remove Thune 100%. Show Ty Matt Chong some love in the chat. To everybody, thank you so much for supporting us on X and Facebook. Thank you for all your prayers. We appreciate you so much. We love you, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.